This Telugu film has puzzled me. It has multiple elements which are impressive, but when you give it a thought, they may not fit together that well. But strangely, it all still works. How is that? Let's talk about it. Hello guys, I'm Nona Prince and finally watched Hit Chapter 3 on Netflix. Written and acted by Sailesh Kolanu. Had to wait for the OTT release because the theater release didn't happen for me. That drama aside, it being an adult violent action film with a leading star who's very much known, and such films have worked recently, they really missed out. But all of that I've talked about in another video, you can watch it later. But right now, let's talk Hit 3. Now I actually went back and watched my reviews for part 1 and part 2. One was 5-year-old, another was 2-year-old video, just to refresh myself what I had actually thought about those films. It's been a long time. And all of it is very similar to what I think of Hit 3 also. So you can say they have been consistent. First, let's talk about the filmmaking aspects. Because for Hit 2, I still remember, which I said in the video also, that it was quite average. And maybe they listened to it because they improved it a lot. The film looks way better. They travel to multiple places across the country and we see different languages being spoken, different actors from different industries. So it was kind of a pan-Indian film. The editing was to the point, the dialogues were well written, the sets were so well designed that they didn't look like a set. It was just refined. Everything clicked better. There were multiple VFX shots which were obvious, but it worked. It was looking fine. Now the adult rating. In Hit 2, I felt they didn't use it really well, but this time they really went all out. They didn't back down at all. And maybe somewhere it is because of films like Animal, which kind of went for that adult rating and really used it well. And because the response it got, it's inspiring other people also to push ahead. And they really went far. They really pushed some boundaries in this film. It was not just for the sake of blood, it leaves an impact. So the sound design, the music, the camera work, everything I was satisfied with. Now all three films also have been consistent with its characters because they are very distinct. Each film, the lead protagonist has different characteristics. But the common thing is that they are flawed. They want to do the right thing, but they are okay to go with the wrong means also. And they operate at that fine line. In the first film, we had an aggressive officer who was dealing with PTSD. Then in the second film, we had an overconfident inspector. He had the pride that he can catch anyone. And in this film, with Arjun Sarkar, they just took it to the next level. He is a pure bona fide badass. It's a no holds barred. He's unhinged. And it is perfectly portrayed with dedication by Nani, the natural star. Easily, it's one of his most iconic performances and one of the most iconic character in Indian cinema. He totally commits to the character. Unlike in the past with a movie called V, where he supposedly plays a villain, but they don't really commit, and by the end he is the hero. And he has said in the interviews that they didn't go all out. It was a mistake. People wanted to see him in the villainous role, and he delivers it this time. And there are moments where the film goes into that mass territory without going really overboard, and it really works. And Nani is a sweet boy. He's loved, but he has been challenging his image recently. He's not playing a pure villain, but an anti-hero. He will go to any length to do his job. And that's not just a statement made in the movie. You see that in his performance. The look he has with the grey hair, his behavior. They're very small moments. The way he's getting angry, the way he shouts at people, the way he talks, the way he asserts his power. You can notice the fine detailing about his character throughout the film. And the plot gives him the opportunity to showcase that. With the violence, he doesn't hold back, and the film doesn't hold back from showing the star Nani committing these acts. Like you literally see him do it with brutality. And the climax, they just take it to someplace else where I felt went over, but we'll come to that later. Because before that, we have to talk about the love angle in the film. Now, in most cases, this is a drawback. It is something that acts as a spoiled sport in the story. Whenever it comes, it just breaks the tension. And that was actually one of my complaints in Hit 2. But in this film, individually, if you look at it, it is done really well. And I think that comes from the type of characters we have. Because it's such a crazy guy, you want to see how he deals with it. Because it becomes refreshing. We have never seen something like this. And I think the reason behind is the characterization of Arjun Sarkar. It is so solid that you want to see him in different situations. And one of that is dealing with the woman, dealing with love. And before that love angle becomes a typical thing we see always, the film brings up a twist. And I think the love story connects because we spend time and we go deeper with it. Now, if you look at the film holistically, does the love angle work? Should it have been removed? Maybe. It does slows down the narrative, but it really never felt unwanted. It was not cringe at all, except very few moments before the climax, but still manageable. And even female characters get to shine. We get some cool action scenes with Srinidhi Shetty, and she did a good job. Even if the film is all about Nani, other people also get moments to shine. Now, coming to the plot, the third case, there will be some minor spoilers ahead, so if you have seen the film, then only continue watching. We have seen a lot of murder mystery thrillers, but the film easily stands out within 15 15 minutes because of the setup. It just hooks you. Watching Nani commit the murder. What is going on? Why is he doing it? That's a surprise element that takes you aback. And it makes you want to know more. You want to know the why. And even with the backstory, it's layered. We go to different locations which have very high geopolitics going on. There are comments about North versus South. So, these elements make the film grounded to the reality. That what we are watching is all happening in the real world. That it's not cut off from the reality. And this time we explore the dark world of the internet, a cult that is committing murders. And for a mainstream film, I feel that's something new. There could be some other films which mention it briefly, but in Hollywood or some TV shows, I've really seen it really explode. So to see it here, it was quite ambitious. And you can see that in the scale of the film. Now it is hit 3. They have to go big, and they already did that with the setting. We went to different locations. It felt kind of pan-India, but even with the idea, they went big. And when you have a good idea which is big, you don't need to go big even with the logistics, because that's where I felt they went overboard with the climax. It's a hidden location in the forest in Arunachal Pradesh where all the killers from around the country will come for a get-together, which is almost 150 to 200 people. Like that many serial killers are roaming around. That really becomes very fictionalized and fantastical. And considering how grounded we have been till now, it feels out of place. And then you start to think, you start to question, and the logic starts to fall off. The villain and the concept is interesting, but it just felt very weak. The alpha character, their whole setup, what they are doing all this for. And for the scale, you have to give it an epic finale, and he's taking down all of these people single-handedly. He's killing them one after the other. There's so much violence, but it's not having any impact because it's so much going on. Yes, it's single take shots, very uniquely designed action movements, a lot of blood, a lot of gore, but it's not being backed by some emotion or by some narrative choice. If it was just 15 people who we know have committed murders here and there, there's some reference we have, and then he fights them and it's very brutal, that would have been more engaging than just running across killing so many one after the other. But there was a reason why to take down 150 of them, because of the universe building, which actually I didn't see coming. Like there's a moment pre-climax when they want to call for a backup, and then someone says the backup is coming, but it's not AP police, it's someone else. And still it didn't click for me. And I knew thanks to Twitter that Advi Sage has a cameo, but I'd forgotten about that. And when he shows up, I was like, oh, I didn't expect this. Now here again, you can question the logic. Where did he come from? Why not the police really? But they are building a universe. They can take the liberty to give you those high moments. It becomes like superheroes coming together to save the day. And the mayhem unfolds. They just avoided that Avengers shot where all of them are together in a pose. But apart from that, it had it all. Now coming to the ending of the film, Arjun Sarkar's character is in jail and was telling the whole story to an inmate. And we later find out that inmate was a big corrupt businessman, and that's who he came to kill in the jail. And as he was coming to jail, some other police inspector, a female cop, was being awarded for a bravery, who we never meet until that last moment, that too in the dialogues, that this was a character who got killed and that's why she deserved bravery award. And all of this feels so rushed that it doesn't connect. Like you could have ended the film with the forest and setting up the next film that they have to find the businessman, but instead they just finish off the narrative. But they did had a setup for part 4, and we are introduced to a new cop played by Karthi. So he will lead hit 4. Now I wonder if they'll make the film in Tamil or Telugu. Like how does it work? Now if you look at all the elements, Arjun Sarkar's character works. The love story for itself works. The plot is interesting, it's engaging. The way the universe is carrying forward is working fine. All of them do come together and fit in a clumsy way, but it still works and makes me excited for what's next. But the reason I didn't get to watch this film in theaters is right here, because of the pan-Indian scam. Check the video if you haven't. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see you next time.